Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class. Since we could not continue with our class online, there were some network issues because of which we got disconnected. I would like to continue the class here through this online mode. So, we were discussing today about Indian businessmen and their companies. So, I will once again start with the first businessman, that is Mr. Mukesh Ambani. Mr. Mukesh Ambani is the owner of Reliance Industries Limited, which is headquartered in Mumbai. Reliance Industries Limited is known for petrochemical, oil and gas business, and one of its major telecom services is Reliance Jio, which came into existence in the year 2016. And all of you must be knowing about what happened in the year 2016. Reliance Jio came into the market with free internet services. That was a time when internet was so expensive. People used to use 1 GB for a month, but Reliance Jio came into the market and started giving 1 GB for a day, and that too completely free of cost, because of which it attracted many consumers towards it, and then it went on to become one of the largest telecommunication company in our country. So, Reliance Industries deals with petrochemical, oil and gas business, and at the same time Reliance also has Reliance Jio, which is one of the leaders in telecommunication sectors in our country. The telecommunication sector means what? Communication over telephone. So, all these services given by Bharti Airtel, services given by Idea, BSNL, all these are what? All these are telecommunication companies. So, Reliance Jio is also a telecommunication company. The second one is Mr. Azim Premji, the founder of Wipro, an IT sector in our country. Today, Wipro is the fourth largest IT sector in our country. The first one is TCS, that is Tata Consultancy Service, owned by Tata or Ratan Tata. The second one is Infosys, owned by Mr. Narayan Murthy. The third one is HCL, owned by Mr. Shiv Nadar. And the fourth largest IT sector in our country is Wipro, and some of your relatives must be working in Wipro, so you must have heard of this company, IT company called Wipro. IT stands for Information Technology. Information Technology deals with technology, networking, internet, hardware, software. All these things comes under information technology. They deal with these things. They make or improve these things. They improve technology. They work to improve the software. They work to improve the hardware of a system. So, that is what an IT sector deals with. Wipro is an IT sector, and it is the fourth largest IT sector in our country. The first one is TCS, which is owned by Ratan Tata. The second one is Infosys, owned by Mr. Narayan Murthy. Third one is HCL, owned by Mr. Shiv Nadar, and the fourth one is Wipro, which is owned by Mr. Azim Premji. Mr. Azim Premji is not just a very good businessman, but he is very well known for his philanthropical work. Philanthropist work means people who donate their money to charitable works. Okay? So, he is a very well known philanthropist, a person who happily gives away a good share of his profit to help the poor in the society. And he with the companies like Wipro and Infosys, they have high levels of ethical standards. Ethical standards means the sense of doing things in the right way. They are known for their ethics in the company. That means their ethics, the way they conduct their business is very ethical. They conduct their business in a very right way. Unlike many who are just profit oriented, and they will compromise with anything just to earn profit. Unlike them, Wipro is one such company which is known for working ethically in the society, and not just is it very good at its business, but the firm also takes into account the helping of people who are really in need of help. Helping the poor is one of their well known characteristic. So, Wipro is a software service, it offers software services in India, and it is the 4th largest software company in our country. It develops new technologies and collaborates with startups. So, I was talking about startups. Startups means small businesses, new businesses. Suppose young people who have just come out of their MBA colleges after finishing their post graduation, they have just come out and they are filled with new ideas in their mind of starting a new company. But the problem is that if they do not have money in their hand, then they won't be able to start a new company. So, what Wipro does is it invites young people who have fresh new ideas, and with them they will collaborate. Collaborate means to come together. They will come together with new startups and give life to new startups. So, that is how Wipro functions. It is known for developing new technologies and also collaborating or coming together with new startups. Next is Lakshmi Narayan Mittal. Lakshmi Mittal is our country's 3rd richest man. There was once a time when he was the richest man in our country, but today he is the 3rd richest man in our country. Lakshmi Narayan Mittal owns ArcelorMittal. ArcelorMittal is the world's largest steel manufacturing company and India's largest steel manufacturing company. So, Lakshmi Narayan Mittal, Lakshmi Mittal is the owner of ArcelorMittal, which is the largest steel manufacturing company in the world. So, he is the 3rd richest man in India. He is the leader in steel industry in India, and he is the world's biggest steel manufacturing company. He owns the world's biggest steel manufacturing company known as ArcelorMittal. Then we move to Hinduja Brothers. Hinduja Brothers, there are 4 brothers and they own Hinduja Group. Hinduja Group deals with lubricants, that means things which make the surfaces soft, okay, with things that reduces friction, resistance. Okay. So, deals with lubricants, banking and cabling industry. You must have heard of Ashok Leyland. You must have seen many vehicles, big trucks, big buses or trailers which are of Ashok Leyland branded. Ashok Leyland Limited is owned by Hinduja Brothers, and IndusInd Bank is also a well known bank in our country. That too is owned by Hinduja Brothers. Next is Palunji Mystery. Mr. Palunji Mystery is the head of Shapurji Palunji Group. Shapurji Palunji Group was founded by the today's Palunji Mystery's grandfather. Even his name was Palunji Mystery. So, they own Shapurji Palunji Group. Shapurji Palunji Group deals in construction, real estate, that means selling and buying of land, textiles, that means cloth industry, then engineered goods, home appliances, shipping, publication, power and biotechnology business. Shapurji Palunji has many hospitals and many schools under their name, and they have a very successful business in our country. Next is Mr. Shiv Nadar. As I said, as I was discussing about Mr. Azim Premji, I told you about Mr. Shiv Nadar, who owns HCL. HCL is the 3rd largest IT company in our country. Shiv Nadar is the founder of HCL, and it is the third largest IT company in our country. And HCL started initially with the production of calculators and microprocessors. Way back when HCL started off its work, it was not an IT company, it was a small company which used to produce calculators and microprocessors, and then later it began or it became one of India's largest IT companies. Then we have Godrej Group. So we have one or two Godrej items in our house. You can just go around in your house and see how many Godrej items are there in your house. Godrej Group is headed by Mr. Adi Godrej, and it was started by his forefathers. Godrej deals in aerospace and defense, appliances, chemicals, food and agri, furniture, furnishings and fittings, general engineering, heavy engineering, home and personal care, intra-logistics. Logistics means when goods are to be transported from one place to another, it needs logistics. That means the process of transporting is known as logistics. Information technology, infrastructure, locks and security solutions, power and energy, real estate, all these are owned by, all these kinds of business are dealt in by Godrej Group. Godrej is a giant player, that means a very big player in the consumer goods segment in India. Consumer goods means what? Goods which are used by consumers. You can Godrej #1, the soap that we use, or Godrej almiras, or Godrej lockers, or Godrej locks come, and then you have this Godrej hair color, Godrej hand wash. So there are many areas like this that they deal in. So the consumer goods are these, that means the goods which are used by the consumer are known as consumer goods. So Godrej is one of the giant players in this sector, in consumer goods sector. Okay. Then we move to Mr. Dilip Shanghvi, who is the founder and owner of Sun Pharmaceutical Limited. Sun Pharmaceutical Limited is a drug company, a medicine manufacturing company, which is India's largest and the world's 4th largest pharmaceutical company. It is India's largest and the world's 4th largest pharmaceutical company. The name of the company is Sun Pharmaceutical Limited, which is owned by Mr. Dilip Shanghvi. Next is Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, who is the head of Aditya Birla Group. You must have heard of Aditya Birla Group. It is a very famous company in our country. Aditya Birla Group, it deals with diversified offerings. Diversified offerings means variety offerings, like cement, aluminium, telecom and financial services. Cement, you must have heard of Ultratech Cement. Ultratech Cement is owned by Aditya Birla Group. Grasim Industries, Aditya Birla Capital, Vodafone Idea, Hindalco Industries, Pantaloons, you must have heard of Pantaloons Fashion and Retail. They are all owned by Aditya Birla Group. Vodafone and Idea. Idea was Aditya Birla Group's telecom company, but in the year 2016, when Reliance Jio came into the market, both Idea and Vodafone started facing a huge competition, and that is when Idea bought, or Aditya Birla Group bought Vodafone and made it theirs. So Vodafone today is actually Idea's only. So all these companies are actually part of what? Aditya Birla Group. Next we come to Mr. Gautam Adani. Gautam Adani is also a very big businessman in our country, and he deals with commodities, power generation and transmission and infrastructure. Infrastructure means what? Infrastructure means roads, bridges, buildings, electricity, all these things are known as infrastructure. So, he works in infrastructure sector. His company, they take works for building roads, building bridges, electricity connections, building big buildings. Okay. So, all those things Adani Group takes into their concern. Then one interesting thing about Adani Group is this, that they control the Mundra port. The Mundra port is the largest port in India, which is situated in Gujarat. In Gujarat, we have the largest port in India, and the name of the port is Mundra Port, which is controlled by Mr. Gautam Adani. So, that is an interesting point about his business. The last person that we will be discussing in our class today is Mr. Ratan Tata, who is the head of the Tata Group. In our house, there will be at least one item which belongs to this company, like Tata Salt, Tata Tea. You can just name, you can sit and you can think about it. So, I would encourage you next time, whatever you do, even when you are taking early in the morning, suppose when you wake up and when you go to your washroom and when you use your toothpaste, just see which toothpaste is that, just look back and read who is the manufacturer of this toothpaste, which company does this toothpaste belong to. Then when you go for taking bath, think about it, which soap are you using, which company does that soap belong to, and then when you are having your tea, think about that, talk about it. Whenever you are moving around with your friends outside, whenever you come across advertisements or banners on the streets regarding any of the company, think about it. Who does this company belong to? Who is the owner of this company? Ask yourself these questions. Okay. So, that will improve your understanding about business even more. So, Mr. Ratan Tata is the head of Tata Group, and what all are the things that Tata deals with? Tata functions in almost all sectors. In many sectors they work, like chemical sector, FMCG, e-commerce and retail, energy engineering, information systems and communications, services and airlines, catering, hotels, iron and steel, financial services, real estate, organizational services and logistics. Let me explain what is FMCG. FMCG stands for fast moving consumer goods. Fast moving consumer goods, that means the consumer goods which are fast moving. The products that we use in our house on daily basis, like tea, salt, then cereals, pulses, rice, soaps, then pen, stationaries, then what else? Vehicles, all these things, sorry, not vehicles, but things which we use very quickly, which we finish off very quickly, like newspapers, like what shall I say, soaps, toothpastes, then your day to day chocolates, biscuits, food items, all these things which gets over in a very short period of time, those are known as FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. So, Tata has a very big sector in this fast moving consumer goods. E-commerce and retail, you must, if you do online shopping, you must have come across a site called Tata Click, CLIQ. Tata Click is an e-commerce site owned by Tata. You must, if you visit Bangalore and cities like that, you will find West Side, a retail shop called West Side. West Side is again owned by Tata Group. Then you have many other sectors which are owned by Tata Group, like energy engineering, information systems, communications, services and airlines, catering, hotels, iron and steel. You must have heard of Tata Steels, owned by Tata. Then you must have heard of Taj Hotel. Taj Hotel is also a Tata Group's entity. Then you must have heard of Tata Steel, Tata Motors, then you must have heard of Titan watches, Fast Track watches, these are all Tata products. You must have heard of Tanishq jewellery, Tanishq is also a Tata product. So, all these things, all these areas, they deal in many areas and many brands, they own many brands, and it is a very successful company, Tata. And you can just look into the logo of Tata, and who is the head of Tata? Ratan Tata is the head of this group. So, that is what I wanted to discuss with all of you in today's class. Let us quickly go through them once again. The owner of Tata Group is Mr. Ratan Tata. The owner of Adani Group is Mr. Gautam Adani. The owner of Aditya Birla Group is Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla. The owner of Sun Pharmaceutical Limited, which is India's largest and the world's fourth largest pharmaceutical company, the owner of the company is Mr. Dilip Shanghvi. The head of Godrej Group is Mr. Adi Godrej. The founder of HCL, which is the third largest IT sector in our country, is Mr. Shiv Nadar. The head of Shapurji Palunji is Mr. Palunji Mystery. Hinduja Group is headed or owned by Hinduja Brothers. ArcelorMittal, which is the world's largest steel manufacturing company, is owned by Mr. Lakshmi Mittal. Wipro is owned by Mr. Azim Premji, and of course, Reliance Industries Limited is owned by Mr. Mukesh Ambani. So, I wanted to leave all these names with you today. I wanted you to come across these names. Some of you know some of these businessmen. You must have at least heard about them or watched about them on television. You must have heard about their companies' names also, but I wanted you to know even more about their companies. So, what I want you to do is please go through these names, please go through these slides once again, and after that maybe this in your future when you come across these names you will remember, oh yeah, I have heard about this person and this person deals or he owns this company. You will get a clearer picture about this company. So, that is what I wanted to leave with you today. So, please go through these names. There are many other businessmen who I have not included in this PPT because of lack of time and because it will be too much for you to kind of grasp in one go. So, definitely there are many other businessmen. I would encourage you to go and find at least 2-3 more Indian businessmen who are well known, so that you can add to your existing knowledge. So, I hope you gained something out of it. If you face any problem, please let me know. This class and the last class were not as they are definitely related to your subjects, but these are like the building stones, the cornerstones. So, these are like the basic classes which I wanted you to take with you. But it's up to you. You may take notes of these classes or you may not, that is completely up to you. These two classes are not directly related to your syllabus. So, when we will start with our syllabus, I will share with you the notes of those classes, but till now you need not take the notes for these two classes, as these are basic classes. So, these classes are like basic classes. So, I hope you take it, though it is a fun class, but I hope you take it seriously, you learn something out of it and build on these knowledge in the future. So, that is all I wanted to leave you with. And before closing, I would once again request you all to please, in the next class, that is on Thursday, we will be coming online at 1:30. I request you all to at least come 5 minutes earlier, so that we can join and we can finish our class within 30 minutes. I cannot go more than 40 minutes because the class, the Zoom class gets over within 40 minutes, and if you keep on coming in between, it creates a problem. It distracts my attention also, and it creates problem in connecting. I also would like to request all of you from the next class onwards to keep your videos muted and keep your audios also muted. Keep both your video as well as your audio muted throughout the class. If there is anything, you may drop your messages in the chat box. We will keep it very straight. I will join 5 minutes prior to the class. If our class starts from 1:30, I will be there by 1:25, and within 5 minutes I request all of you to join in, and after 1:30 I will not be allowing anyone to enter the Zoom room. So, I hope you understand this, and I hope you would take this seriously. I once again want to thank you for joining and being a part of today's online class. Thank you so much.